This podcast was recorded on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation.
Hello, gang.
Welcome back to the pod. It's another week. We're going to have so much fun all together.
Wow. Let's just use that every week. That was beautiful. Guys, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, we appreciate having you with us. It means a lot. Now, this week on the pod, after a few weeks of, I would say, a little bit more serious topics through our sleep episodes, which we hope you listen to, we thought we'd lighten the topic a bit this week and gather up some of your craziest workplace stories. Now, having worked plenty of different jobs myself in my time and encountering all kinds of people through those jobs, I just knew that these were going to be some wild stories. So thank you, as always, for writing in and being part of the pod and pretty much writing this episode for us. But also at the end of the episode, our Ask Mum and Dad comes from a girl who's questioning her partner's double standards in their relationship. So stay with us for all that good stuff.
Oh, well, guys, someone had the nerve to comment on our lovely family post of Fletcher's birthday saying that it was budget as F word. And it was, surprise, surprise, from a faceless troll account with 0 followers. Shock to the system. When are they going to ban those? When are they going to make it like illegal to have a faceless account?
We spoke about this on podcasts in the past when we said like almost I think that you should have to use your ID to sign up for like a social media account. Like you use a license or a passport. So you're essentially verified.
Or at the very least, your like personal details, right? Like your phone number and your email. And then maybe if you bully someone, they have access to that. That would be amazing.
Beautiful.
Let's hold people accountable for their bullying.
What if they got a fake phone number and just made up an email?
Sorry, who's doing that in this day and age, getting fake plan?
Bro, it doesn't take much to make an email account.
Yeah, so real. Anyway,
I like how you think your ideas through. That's the best part of them.
This person commented budget as F on my post, which I've deleted now. So if you're going to go try to look for it, they're gone. I've blocked them. I block everyone who leaves nasty comments. But I then went on to make a video about it on TikTok, and it bothered me. I don't know why. Like, it didn't affect me in terms of my value, how I've kind of perceived myself as a mother and whether or not I've done a good job with this party. And like, not only that, but like we did actually spend a lot of money, like a stupid amount of money for a first birthday because we ended up needing to get all this stuff that we just didn't think about. And, you know, you cater for 50 people. You end up spending a bit of money. Beside the point, the fact that someone thought it looked budget and then had the nerve to comment that about a 1-year-old's birthday is just insane to me. Like, one-year-olds shouldn't even be having birthdays. We just thought it would be nice to get the family together, do something to like celebrate the fact that we literally survived the first year of his life. Like, it was basically a survival party, let's be honest. And we were really proud of that, and we wanted to just get our family and friends together and do something nice. So we had a really lovely time, and then this person went and left this really yucky comment.
For context, let me give context for people who don't look online or have seen photos. We essentially rented a room at a community centre which backed onto like a little piece of synthetic grass and some play equipment because, you know, we had a lot of friends coming that had kids. Also, I have a big family, 4 of my siblings, 3 of which each have like a few kids. So like it was essentially a kid's birthday party. So you need something for them to do. And at the same time, we just needed somewhere that in case it rained, people could step inside. And yeah, as Jad said, we don't care about anything other than the fact than just like getting people together and like literally catching up with people, blowing out a candle, having a piece of cake and, you know, having a laugh and a smile with people. And yeah, as she said, celebrating being parents for a year, which is, you know, a tough gig. So that's all we wanted to do. We don't often do things in our private life for our family so that we can take pretty photos and post them online. We're lucky enough to, you know, sometimes be invited to things where you can take nice photos and create nice content and it's nice, but I wouldn't say that that's at the forefront of our mind when we're, you know, trying to do something, you know, little and small for our family.
Our everyday life is not aesthetic at all. At all.
Yeah.
Like
Jad, actually this morning when we got up, you know, we get up about 6:30 and we go out and get a coffee and take Fletch to the park so he can run around in the morning. And Jad actually, we were holding hands and walking. He was in the pram and she looked at me and she went, we used to look nice when we went out. We look like, you know. And I just said, mate, we're going to the park at 6:30 in the morning in trackies and a jacket. It's like 3 degrees. Like, there's no way I'm putting on like jeans and boots and a coat to go out in the morning. Like this is just what we do, you know, and it's not, this is not important, you know? So yeah, that's...
Anyway, so this person left this nasty comment and then I had a bit of a rant about it, mainly because I just feel sorry for other people who feel like they need to do that really extravagant stuff to like be feel like they're worthy in their role as a parent. Like, no, absolutely not. You've made your kids some beautiful cupcakes. Even that's going above and beyond because let's be honest, the kid's going to have a bite of one. That's it. All good. Like, you know, even putting a candle on something and lighting it and singing happy birthday, which they're not going to remember. They have no idea what's going on. Like, it's a first birthday. It's for you, basically. Let's be honest. And yeah, no one's doing anything wrong by doing the absolute bare minimum or doing nothing, you know, if that's the capacity that you have. It's like you're already stretched, you're worn thin and, you know, you're on a budget and the last thing you have the capacity to do is like think about planning a first birthday for a baby who's not going to remember anything. Like, all good, guys. Don't stress about it. But yeah, I think comments like that are just so unnecessary and put pressure on other people. Like, other people who are seeing that are going, oh, I didn't do anything like this. So, you know, what I did, and it must be even more budget than this. So it's just yuck.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, social media as a whole is always going to show people like, you know, content that does well is it's like the most extreme content. So like when you see a birthday party online for a little one and parents have gone to amazing effort and you know, whether they have, you know, a petting zoo there or huge, like, you know, what are they called when you put heaps of balloons?
The balloon arch garland,
yeah, like balloon garlands and all this stuff. Like it's all well and good, and each to their own. If you want to do that, hats off to you. That's fantastic. But when people see that, it already puts, you know, sort of pressure on them to think like, oh man, if this is what these people are doing, and that's just social media for you. It's always like comparing, you know, unfortunately, it's like comparing yourself to others. So that is already pressure enough when people see that. So for you to like, I don't know, leave nasty comments on people's, you know, posts about being budget and also like,
even if it is budget, who cares? What's wrong with a Woolies cake at the park? All good.
I just always come
That's
back
the
to
best
like
party,
my
if you ask
mum
me.
when I was young just said, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. You know, and I don't know why people feel like the anonymity of the internet just is like free range, just to say whatever you want.
Free range chicken.
Yeah, free range chicken. That's how Jadé's brain works. She couldn't not say free range chicken, like free range, and then she was like, I've seen that at the shops, chicken. That's just, that's how her mind works, guys. But yeah, do your own thing. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. And just know that your kid's not going to remember their birthday party until they're, I don't know, like, I don't even remember. I would say like, till I was like 7, I wouldn't remember a birthday party. So
Amen.
Go nuts. Just sing happy birthday at home and normal day.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
All right, guys, let's get stuck into some of your crazy work stories. All right, guys, so getting stuck into your crazy work stories. Now, the reason why we wanted to have a little chit-chat about this topic is, you know, I've always found that, like, the funniest and craziest stories come from workplaces because there's always such a wild, different dynamic of people. Like, you know, I've worked in hospitality, I've worked in construction. There's some interesting characters in both those industries. So I have plenty, and Jad also has her fair share. So we thought we'd give you a little I don't actually have, like, the craziest ones, but little ones from our lives.
Are you serious?
Oh, true. I got some pretty hectic ones.
You have the more hectic ones that I've ever heard.
Yeah, true. But I can't share them all.
Yes,
but
you can. Share that one.
That one?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, Jad's like fake stabbing me right now, guys. So, okay, I'll go first. I wasn't actually going to tell this one, but here we go. Alas, Jad's forcing me. I worked on the door of a nightclub for many, many years. I bumped into like 1,000 people a night, sometimes more, you know, always having conversations, sometimes nice, sometimes not nice. Obviously, you're like the bad guy. You have arguments with people. You kick people out. Jad's got a hand up. Do you want to ask a question?
How was the conversation with me?
So good. Your Tinder was popping off. We barely got to chat. So essentially, yeah, it's a tricky job. You're often the bad guy. You're often sort of arguing with people and fighting with people. But this one night, there was this person who was in the venue and they'd been asked to leave. Essentially, they came back.
Why were they asked to leave?
I can't remember that.
They kept taking their shirt off. Wasn't that guy?
Oh no, you're talking about a different one.
Oh, good.
That's
Continue.
Yeah. There's
I'm
plenty of
merging
stories.
Sorry.
Jad's merging stories. Yeah. So this person was asked to leave and came back like 20 minutes later after just hanging around. And they always try and attempt to get back in. And they think that you're not going to remember who they are,
With
even
some
though
sunnies.
we've got cameras and I got people in my ear talking to me, like literally watching cameras, warning me and telling me all this stuff.
And Locke has a really good memory, so he would remember if someone was kicked out.
I do. Sometimes girls would come with fake IDs and we'd kick them out, and then they'd come back like 4 weeks later, and I'd be like, dude, I remember you. Like,
You have not had a birthday.
Yeah, see ya. Go to another club. Pontoon down the road. No, don't do that. So essentially this person comes back and I go, look, like, you got to understand, you've been kicked out. If I let you back in, I'm not doing my job. I'm going to get fired. I won't be here next week. So, like, you got to appreciate it. Like, there's plenty other venues in the city. Just go elsewhere, you know. And we had a bit of a back and forth, and they were whinging, oh, it's my friend's birthday and this and that. And, you know, there's nothing you can do. But I just said, look, you got to go. I can't keep talking to you. So I literally turned around to, like, keep doing my job, like, to talk to other people. To which they actually, I didn't know at the time, they actually pulled out a knife and put it into my back. And I didn't know this, but I have like security guards all around me, like posted around, and some are like 10 meters away that watch me and stuff, which communicate with me. And one of my security guards said to me in my ear, he said, Locke, I need you to run inside right now. He goes, you got a knife in your back. And I didn't know, like I felt something in my back, but I was like, oh, maybe the person's finger or something like that. So I just bolted inside, and the security guard was already behind this person, like locked them up, got the knife out of their hand, pretty much on the ground, and like subdued them, called the police, and then this person, you know, gets arrested and yada, yada. That's it. The dumbest thing
Was
you could
that it?
ever... Did I forget something?
Didn't they continue to threaten you afterwards?
No, that was the shirt off person.
Oh,
that
shirt off
you have
guy.
mixed in all the stories.
Sorry.
But essentially this person got locked up with their knife and da-da-da. And the worst part about this is that there's about 10 cameras on me at all times. So this is all documented. Like, you can just see this person pull out a knife. It's in my back. So it's not going to go well for them when they go to court, and all the best to them. But that is, that was just, you know, one of the encounters that I experienced every night of work. There was always crazy stuff, whether it was bikies or whatever. And this is why when I quit this job, my parents, I think it was like the happiest day of their lives. So, yeah, that's
Next
my
to
story.
you being born.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wild story. That one's crazy. I can't say anything like that's ever happened to me at work. But I had a boss who made my legs skinnier on a photo.
What?
So I took a photo at my old workplace with two other girls. One of them
Like
being
all staff photo or something?
it was me.
Like, were you out, or was it like at
No,
work?
we were at work in the office. It was me, the model, and then the CEO of the company. And the CEO edited all of our bodies to make us all look skinnier. I think she made herself skinnier and then realised we looked weird not also being uber ultra skinny next to her. So she edited all of our bodies. But at the time, I just found it extremely offensive because I was like, did I need to be edited? Like, did you look at my body and go, she looks like bad, I'm going to edit her body? Like, it was just...
No, I reckon it was what you said. Like, she edited herself, and then obviously you would look silly if she's...
But still,
you
like,
know.
to do that, and also from like a position of authority, it to me is nuts. Like,
Like, you're the boss, I can't really say anything.
no,
Anyway.
no,
Yeah.
who's going to do that? And she was also the kind of person who made everyone have shots in the middle of the day, and everyone would look
What?
really...
Where
yeah.
did you work? At, like, Patron or something?
No, it was a fashion brand. But yeah, she'd get everyone together and be like, "Hey, let's have tequila shots." And everyone would like apprehensively go into the room where she was pouring everyone shots and
But
like
why?
have to take this because she wanted them.
But was she
wanted
trying to
to
get
do
the
shots.
vibe up, or was it
Yeah,
like...
she thought it was like this fun thing to do in the middle. So everyone would take a shot and then sit back down at their desk and keep working quietly. It was so weird.
That, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did you last here? Like,
I was there for a few months.
And just got sick of drinking on the job, or...
No, they fired me.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
Well,
You
they
unedited the image and posted
No,
it.
they placed a lot of blame on me for things that were already happening before I started working there.
Classic.
No, so
How do
there
you
was
know?
data, literal data from before I started of like certain things declining, and then when I started, they just pinned it on me basically. And I also had two different people who were giving me different information about what my role was, and one of them would say, "Don't do this," and then the CEO would be like, "Hey, did you do that?" And I'd be like, "No, blah blah told me not to." and she'd ask blah, blah, and blah, blah would say, I never said that. So I just was in this really crappy, unprofessional environment.
Sounds like just a conspiracy.
I was just like a fall guy, basically. So anyway, I got let go. But thank God, because I've been working for myself ever since.
Silver lining.
Yeah, exactly.
How good. All right, let's get stuck into your stories,
Okay.
guys. First story says, craziest thing to happen at my workplace. An old boss propositioned me to sleep with him and his fiancée. I was 24 at the time and he was 60. His fiancée was 30, so safe to say there's a bit of a pattern. When I outright declined, he told the whole team that I was being difficult and defiant in my work role and needed an intervention. So I had many other team members trying to have a hard talking to me so I would clean my act up at work, all while they were none the wiser about the proposition that had occurred earlier. I quit.
Is that illegal?
I'm
pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah, I would say
That's
so.
really
I would
messed
say
up.
that's probably sexual harassment.
Yeah.
You know?
Put it in that basket too.
Yeah, I mean, she was being defiant by not doing it, but not really defiant in the workplace, was she?
I would tell everyone.
Yeah.
Why
I
is she
mean,
not telling everyone? I'd be blowing the whistle.
I feel sometimes
Toot, toot.
people, I think, you're young, you're 24, could be her first professional workplace,
Sure.
after uni or something. You don't know ins and outs, right and wrong.
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
that's
yeah.
wrong, but you don't know what you can do. And
Yeah.
small companies, sometimes, HR might have been his partner, who knows? So, yeah, they're horrible
That's
experiences
awful, you
that
poor
people
thing.
have. And, it's such a shame that's, it's more a shame, I think, when those things happen that there's, I would say, like, more often than not, like, no ramifications.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you've made this person feel so uncomfortable. They've quit their job. Could be their dream job. You don't
Yeah.
know. And, like, your, selfish act trying to get them into bed could have, like, ruined a potential career path for them,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that stuff is horrible. And
That's
it's not nice
sad.
to see people in positions of power flex their
Abusing
muscles
it,
like that
yeah.
and abuse it. So, yeah, sorry you went through that.
And
But
quitting was the way to go.
yeah, definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Especially, I would have blown the whistle before you left.
Oh,
I would have
100%.
gone, look, Steve's a
Toot, toot.
fucking creep, and
Yeah.
careful, he'd be trying to sleep with you next.
I would have sued him.
And what if he just said I didn't do that?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Nice. I love how
I'd
you
get a
just
good
think
lawyer.
things through. It's beautiful.
The lawyer will help me.
No, that I also would say that's like I would like to take some form of legal action, but it's those weird ones where it's just like, well, he said, she said,
Yeah,
like
I
he can just go, I never did that. Like, and then what do you do, So unless you have like evidence in like an email or text message or
True.
phone call that you've recorded.
I'd trap him. I'd say, hey, is that offer still on the table?
And then
I'm so clever.
And he'll go, what are you talking about? And then you go, give me
I'd
a second, click
I'd
your
go,
recording device
yeah.
in your jacket and go, can you say it now, Steve? And he's like, what? Yeah, that would genius.
Thought it was a good idea.
That's very Michael Schofield-esque.
All right. The next one says, a guy got in the elevator at work and it broke, dropping from the 4th floor to the basement. He ended up with a broken leg and some cuts and bruises, concussion and a broken collarbone. The poor dude took like 8 months off for rehabilitation, had to move apartments so he could have accessibility, and also the trauma of using elevators. That would scar me for life. Colleagues from work helped him with the move and helped him get groceries and other necessities in the hospital too because he didn't have any family here. He finally comes back to work, is back for less than a year, and the company wouldn't renew his visa sponsorship and he had to go back to his home country.
That's pretty rogue.
That's messed up.
But at the same time, just because he got injured, like if he was a rubbish employee, like they can't just keep him on now because
Surely
they
you
feel
just
bad about the elevator.
Pity sponsorship.
Like, it's a shame and that's horrible, but I'm sure he was looked after, like workers' comp for the whole time he was
Yikes.
off. But yeah, that wouldn't have been
That's
nice
terrible.
to, you're finally excited to get back. You put in all the hard yards with your rehab so you can finally get back and they go, look, unfortunately, you got to head home.
Yeah.
Yeah, not nice. But at the same time, if he was rubbish and it was my company, I wouldn't just keep him on. Like, it sucks about the elevator. But if you're not pulling your weight, I can't keep paying you just because you got a sore foot.
I would give him, but he was there for less than a year, so still some time. I think if I was in that position, I'd go, look, we're going to let you go at the end of whatever. We're giving you some time to work here and find a new job that you're sponsored with. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Like, just give him notice.
Like, we're going to flog you off.
Yes.
But hopefully someone else will take you.
Well, it's better than nothing.
He probably could have done that when he got sacked. Like, he could probably look around.
Not if
and
there
look
was
for
a time
sponsorship
limit
elsewhere.
on his searching and visa.
That's true. They might have left it last minute to really, really, kick him in while he's down. But yeah, not a nice one. And man, I dare say I'd be taking the stairs in that office for the rest of the
100%.
time. So,
Yeah.
all right, next story. It says, this guy at my work bought his stool sample to work in a plastic container and put it in the communal fridge.
No.
He had a doctor's appointment that afternoon but didn't tell anyone. So we all just discovered his turd inside a Tupperware container.
Are you serious?
He's left work now. Thankfully, no more surprise human shits sitting in the fridge. Oh, did he just think no one was going to eat lunch that day?
I just have so many questions. Like, firstly, what? Like, who? Why would you think that would be okay? Just stay home. Chuck a sickie if you need to take your poo somewhere. Secondly, why is it in a see-through Tupperware container? Like, wrap it.
I was thinking that more so. Like, you know those Greek yogurt containers?
Wrap it
Chuck
in
it
anything.
that.
Literally put it in anything. Put it in, then also wrap it in that. Then 3 bags on top of that. So
Yeah.
no one will unravel what mess you've put in that fridge.
A towel around it.
Surely, what's he done? Hopped on the train with his clear container with his poo in it and then put it in the fridge at work.
He probably wasn't carrying it, mate. He wasn't
Well,
on the
sounds
train
like-
going, hey, everyone, I'm about to put this in the fridge at work.
Sounds like he doesn't have the capacity to make, a good judgment call on
It was silly.
how
but
to
I
travel
also,
with the feces.
I also would have just done the number 2 at work. Why is he bringing it from home?
Maybe it was after like a fasting or something.
No, I reckon you.
So what? You're going into the toilet at work with a container, and you're doing that at work, and then sticking it in the fridge.
Well, I
Is that what
reckon
you're
you
telling
just
me?
time it like 4 p.m. You know, you're going to the doctor's after. You start having a couple.
I
of
don't like
prunes.
anything that you're saying right now.
Well, I just reckon this guy needs to work on controlling his bowels a bit.
I need to work on picking men.
But yeah, I dare say this guy would have copped so much slack after that there's no wonder he's left.
Would
the
you say
workplace.
he'd copped a bit of shit?
Classic. Was that funny? Those puns I don't even do because they're like too easy.
No, those are the best ones.
All right, mate. Next story.
All right, the next one says, I worked for a company for almost 4 years and never, not once, did I live in Australia during this time, despite them thinking I was in Oz the whole time. They'd asked how the weather was, so I'd have the weather app tab open all the time. I once took a team meeting inside a cave, have video proof, in a small town in Mexico. They never knew because everyone always had background switched on. That's crazy.
I don't understand how.
Like a remote, like you're working remotely and
Yeah.
you're telling them that you live in Oz, but you're not.
Yeah, well, it might have been like a prereq of the company. It might have been like, oh, you need to work in
Yeah.
Oz because of certain, market hours or something. You know what I mean? Like if you live overseas and you're 8 hours behind, it doesn't really work for talking to clients that
Right.
are in Australia, sort of thing. But
So are they being paid in Oz?
Australian dollars?
Like
Probably.
they're
It's an Australian company.
like
yeah.
being taxed in Oz, etc.
Well, it depends where you're a resident, yeah. Like you have to pay tax in the country that you're a resident.
Well, how are you overseas for 4 years then?
Might be traveling.
All right.
Like we have literally a friend doing this exact thing right now. They moved overseas and had a job here in Sydney. And we said, oh, have you told your work that you're moving overseas? And they said, no. And we went, well, what happens if they go, oh, hey, let's have a meeting at, X in Sydney, like this time. Like, what are you going to do? And his answer was literally, I'll fly back. Like, I'll just tell them I can't do that day. I'll do the next day and I'll fly back from overseas. And we were like, that seems so rogue. And like, there's time differences and stuff. And I just couldn't do that. I would feel so weird. And like, I would always feel like I was going to get caught. And I think I said to him, oh, if they found out that you were doing this, would they have a problem with it? And he was like, oh yeah, definitely. And I was like, you're still doing it. Like, it seems so weird. But I think this is like, people like the idea of like, I guess if you're 5 days from home, like, and you get the job done no matter where you are, like, I feel like it's a weird thing to complain about as a company, but I can also understand like wanting people to be in the time zone and available for in-person meetings and stuff. So
It's also just deceptive.
it is just deceptive.
That's
yeah.
it. Like, you don't want someone working for you who's just lying to you the whole
Yeah,
time.
like tell your workplace that you want to go do this, and if they're okay with it, great. And if not,
Yeah.
you go, look, well, I might have to think about working elsewhere.
We've
So,
all taken a sickie when we've not been sick, but that's different.
yeah, you take them all the time.
With
Look,
you?
I've got a
What?
cough. Can you look after Fletcher
Are you
today?
okay in the head?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
All right, just go next door. Oh, it's my
I
next
started
story.
coughing last night in bed, and Locke started having a go at me. Are you okay? Are you okay? Why are you coughing? I don't know. I'm just coughing. Yeah, but why? Do you want me to get you a tea? What's going on?
The audacity of me to go and offer to make him
Like,
a
what do you?
tea.
And I was like, I feel like I'm being accosted for coughing. Am I allowed to just cough? Yeah, but why? What's wrong? I don't know. Ask my chest.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
I
I'm
don't
asking,
have
are you
the
okay?
answers for you.
And she kept coughing, and then after like
Oh,
5 minutes,
God
I said,
forbid. God forbid the cough
I
continues.
said, would you like me to go make you a honey tea? And she went, why are you trying to fix this? Like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing to fix. I went, all right,
he was
mate, sorry."
berating me, and I'm like, just let me cough.
Here we go.
Couldn't get my words in over the coughing.
And this is what it's like living with Jadé, guys.
Don't get married.
All right, next one. It says, I'm a community nurse and one of the carers, a 19-year-old, had an affair with the patient's husband who is in his 70s. The most wild part about this to me is that her motivation to date him was because he told her he would buy her an Apple Watch for Christmas. So this story I actually got...
Come on.
I wrote back to the story and I said, do you have any more for me? Like, is there any more juice to this? Like, it's a cool story, but, what happened? Like, did the, patient find out? And they said that the patient was actually nonverbal, but they could, like, still see what was going on and stuff.
This is getting
And they
so
said
much
that they would
worse.
literally, like, flirt and, like, cuddle in front of her.
No.
Yeah, which was, like, really weird in my opinion. Like, that you would
It's
kind of...
not even weird. It's twisted.
Yeah, and then so she said that pretty much the wife like could see it all unfold and happen before her, and it was just I don't know. It seems like I said like I hope the Apple Watch was worth it, but
That's like what feels illegal but isn't. That feels illegal.
70 and 19,
The whole
it's
situation.
pretty grim.
Like
But also,
cozying up in front of a patient who can't talk with their partner.
yeah.
For a watch, an Apple Watch. Come on, people.
But
lift
if you
your
just did
standards.
one weekend
Not
shift,
even a car, like a
one
bloody
weekend
Apple Watch.
shift, you could get the Apple Watch yourself.
That's
So-
what I mean. Like, just go buy yourself an Apple Watch.
Yeah, but as I said, this is like, it comes back to like people, like a 70-year-old, like taking advantage of a 19-year-old, like it's like a position of power, manipulation, like a 19-year-old, like I didn't
A 19-year-old's taking more advantage.
taking advantage of a 70-year-old to get the Apple Watch.
They're both taking advantage of each other.
I dare say the 7-year-old's probably taking a bit more advantage.
I don't know. Are they?
Wait, so you think if
This
there was
person's
like...
like hooking up with an old person to get a watch.
Yeah, but if there was like an upper hand thing here...
There's
would it
no
be,
upper hand.
Would it be the 70-year-old?
Both of them are losing.
The 70-year-old who's probably built wealth his whole life, having an affair with a 19-year-old.
You don't know that. It
for
could be a
$300.
70-year-old on the pension who just got an Apple Watch as a gift and doesn't want it.
Yeah, if you're in a home with carers as a patient,
They're in the
got
hospital.
A bit of dosh.
Community nurse.
Anyway,
look.
Yeah. All right. Jad's saying that the 19-year-old's taking advantage of
I
the
don't-
70-year-old
I don't
here.
like
That's
this
fair enough.
I don't like this situation.
How
at
dare she
all.
get the Apple
It's
Watch?
terrible. I'd
Yeah.
report her.
Wait, she's in the wrong here.
Yes.
Wait, I'm so confused.
Everyone's in the wrong.
So the 70-year-old,
It's an affair.
the 70-year-old who's
No
cheating,
one's having an affair is in the right.
but the guy who's cheating on his wife, she's like immobile in a care facility
Terrible.
with a 19-year-old, giving her like
The 19-year-old's
an
also
Apple
at
Watch.
work. Supposed to be caring for this lady who can't talk and say, "Get off my husband, you rat."
But wait, so out of the two of them though, she's more wrong than him?
No, I'm saying they're both wrong. He's probably a bit more wrong because she's, free to make her own life choices, doesn't have a partner she's cheating on, etc., etc.
Just community home wrecking.
Yeah, community home wrecking.
I feel like you changed your mind there because you said that she was in the wrong and then you
They
kinda-
both are. Everyone is.
You went to the other side
So's
there.
the onlooker. You should have reported it.
Yeah, report to the lady in bed.
Yeah,
Poor thing.
anyway. Look, next one. Craziest thing that happened at my workplace. I had my drink spiked at a work event. There were only employees of the company there. I had one drink and within 20 minutes of drinking it, I'd started to feel like everything around me was slowing down. 7 hours later, I woke up at the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne. My husband had shown up to the event just as I was going downhill and called an ambulance. The workplace did not do a formal investigation and the police couldn't really do anything either. I resigned shortly after as I did not feel safe going to work. That's really effed up. That's really,
Bro, I would've
that's
left
really,
as
really,
well.
really effed up.
Imagine you just like every day in an office.
Like you don't know who did it.
Yeah, like there's some shark circling that's like,
That's
obviously
so
out to get you
uncomfy
in
and
some
gross.
way. Yeah, it is gross.
Yucky vibes. I'm very sorry that happened to you, and I hope you're okay.
And also, the workplace didn't do a formal investigation, or police couldn't really
Yeah.
do anything. If you're at a work event, like at a venue, they normally have cameras. Like it wouldn't be hard for someone to go over the footage of like watching you. Like, yeah, it would be effort and work, but like, isn't that their job? Like,
I also don't understand why the police couldn't do anything.
oh, they say they can't do anything quite often. I went to them once. Oh, I mean, I understand more so that they couldn't do anything. I remember once I was at work, actually.
Yeah.
I guess another work story. And this person came in and just started this was actually when I worked at a gym. They came in and it was like this young girl, maybe 25, and she just came and started abusing me. Like first locked eyes with me, and she was like,
"What did you do?
You're being gross. You're talking to my sister and saying all these creepy things and soliciting, like trying to get nude photos of her, and it's gross. Like
Was it
stop
just
talking to her.
psychosis or something?
Just if you just didn't ask any questions, I could get to the answer. You know, it's like being in class. Just keep your hand down till the end, and maybe all questions will get answered. No. And then I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I literally am not talking to any girls or anything. Like, and then she brought up like screenshots of her sister who had been obviously talking to someone that was like using my photos on like an app.
No way.
Yeah. And I was like, that sucks, you know, because she thinks it's actually me, and then, you know, she's telling her friends or sister, and then, you know, that's obviously like
name
tarnishing my reputation, which is, you know, not nice. And so I literally went to the police and I was like, hey, this thing's happening. Like, it's affecting me because people are coming in abusing me over it, and it's not me. Like, what can we do? And the police were like, nothing we can do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of understand that, but at the same time, like, who's meant to like
social
sort of
media
help
laws
people?
just like didn't exist back then.
Help people with these things.
There's more. I think there's more of like a little bit more you can do now, but even so, it's like they need to then go and hire like a PI to like track down this IP address, and it turns into a whole thing. And then it's like, how are you proving that it's that person sitting behind the computer doing it? It's really weird.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, it's messy. Like all this social media stuff that can't be like, you know, like no one's brought to justice over it, really.
Yeah, but once again, you know, it's like someone's like potential dream career ruined. Like they've had to quit this job because they can't sit in an office with, you know,
that's
could
horrendous.
Be 20, 30, 50 people, and there's just one
it's
snake
just scary.
that they can't. It's eerie. Yeah, it's so weird. So yeah, you made the right decision leaving, and yeah, sorry you had to deal with that. And I hope you didn't have to go back into the office for too long, because that, you said not feel safe going to work, so I assume you went back for a little bit and couldn't shake the feelings, which is not nice. All right, so the next story says, so I was doing NDIS at the time, but I've rocked up to my client's house on a Friday. Little backstory, he was in a wheelchair. He had a disease where over time he was losing feeling in his legs. It was called peripheral artery disease. He hadn't lived a healthy life. He was an alcoholic and also smoked cigarettes constantly. Now back to the story. Set the scene. He lives in a small studio. It's 7 a.m. I get out of my car, walk around the corner to open the door, but the glass door was open and just the screen shut but unlocked. I'm thinking to myself, weird, but anyway, I brush it off and he's not in the lounge room or kitchen, which is where he would normally be in the mornings. So I go to his bedroom. He's sleeping. So I started shaking his hands, calling his name, next poking his belly, but I wasn't getting any response. Weird, right? So I'm like, maybe, just maybe something's wrong. I put my ear over his stomach to look for his breathing, but nothing. So I straight away call 000. They direct me through a sequence. I have to pull this 115 kilo, 50-year-old man off his bed onto the floor by myself, then start doing compressions, practically breaking his ribs. I do around 130 compressions before ambos get here.
Oh my God.
They do some tests, and it turns out I had been doing everything on a body that had been deceased for 8 hours before I'd even got there. Scariest day of my life. I was only 18 at the time. I quit the job 4 months later. I don't know if this is in the category you're looking for, but it's the craziest workplace experience I've ever had. Now it makes me feel grateful that I go to work and have co-workers at my new job. It's just the best.
My mouth hit the floor just then.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, 18, you know, like, so it's not like you got years of experience. And she walked in and she was like, oh, this is definitely a body that's carked it. She was probably just trying to help. And
poor girl.
That is a tough
8
gig.
hours.
Yeah.
That's a
gig.
while.
But yeah, imagine that would be so scarring as an 18-year-old. So like, how many 18-year-olds?
Scarring now. Be scarring forever.
Walk into dead bodies, you know, like it's.
And then resuscitate them for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a scary one, and that is absolutely horrible, and 100% understandable that you packed up shop and you went to do something else. But at the same time, I always think about people doing that kind of work, and I'm like, you have to be an absolute saint to do that sort of work.
Angel.
So that you even wanted to do it, amazing, and you wanted to help people in that way, like it's so special.
And
I
you
always think
reacted
about that.
perfectly as well. Like, what else are you doing in that scenario? You've done everything correctly.
And
like,
you
if
did
he
your
was,
best.
you know, he was revivable, you could have saved his life.
But yeah, a horrible memory for your short stint in that job. But as you said, I'm sure you have a little bit more of a fun time in an office now with friends to hang out with. So
that's
sorry about that.
Bit of a big one to end on.
Just to add on to that, I actually had, when I worked at the gym ages ago, this PT started and they were a bit older. And I said, oh, what'd you do before, being a PT? Because they were like, 30, and most people start PT when they're quite young. And they're like, oh, I was a police officer. And I went, oh, and they go, I went through all the training and stuff, and I got stationed somewhere. And she goes, I literally lasted like 2 months. Because she goes, I just couldn't do it. She's like, every day I would walk into like the craziest, like, essentially crime scenes. She's like, bodies, ODs, like all this crazy stuff. And she's like, I just couldn't do it. She's like, and I thought like I wanted to be a police officer my whole life, And she goes, I lasted 2 months and I couldn't do it. And I'm like, that is mental as well, And that would take such a toll. Like it would take such a type of personality, character to be able to, do that for work and then switch off at the end of the day and kind of be normal with your family, friends, kids, whatever it is.
I don't know.
It would be.
I really don't know how people
It'd
do
be such a tough gig. So
they bless them. They're saints.
Hats off to all our Ambos, police, and nurses, doctors doing all the hard work. We appreciate you. All right, guys. Chad's said we can't do any more stories because we've got to go home and look after Fletcher. So unfortunately, we have to get to the Ask Mum and Dad.
We can't live here.
All right, so the Ask Mum and Dad this week says, hey guys, I have a question off the back of your friends from the opposite sex episode. My boyfriend has several female friends he hangs out with regularly, grabbing coffee, partying, or going to events, etc. He's never hidden this from me, but when I started hanging out more with a guy friend I met at the gym, he started questioning my loyalty and says it just feels different. I'm confused by the double standard. Why is his closeness with female friends acceptable, but mine with a male friend isn't? Why do you think he trusts himself to have opposite sex friendships, but struggles to extend that same trust to me?
Because he's doing the wrong thing. That's why he doesn't trust you. Because he knows what he's doing, and he thinks you're doing it too.
I don't necessarily agree.
I do.
You agree with you, obviously. Yeah, it's your point, mate. Yes. I'm glad you agree with you.
Okay, what's your excuse for this behaviour?
It's not an excuse. I'm not trying to excuse the behaviour, but I just mean it says that he hangs out with them regularly, partying or going to events, etc. So perhaps that seems like a group setting, right? Like there's probably more people around. Like it sounds like it's a group and there's girls that he regularly hangs out with. If you went and met someone at the gym that was a bloke and you started hanging out with, I think that's a little bit different than perhaps hanging out with people in a group setting, like partying and going to events or something. Like just, it's a little bit different. I'm not saying like... So if this was just a guy friend in her group of friends that she hung out with all the time, yeah, it's different. But she literally said it's some dude I met at the gym.
What if he's hanging out with some of them one-on-one, or like two of them, like him and one other person, often find themselves alone in these group settings? Yeah,
I mean, it always depends on the context. But I think in the episode you said that you have a lot of guy friends and that you would, and they're from like, childhood and stuff, and that you wouldn't have a problem hanging out with them one-on-one. And I said, I wouldn't care if you hung out with them one-on-one. So I think it's situational and circumstantial.
I think it's, yeah.
So if he's known these girls like his whole life.
It is weird to have the double standard. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's weird a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm saying I would also think it was weird if he met some girl at the gym and started hanging out with her. But if it's like in a circle of friends and a friendship group that have been together for a decade and he's just always around these girls that are part of the group that are like,
I think she needs to do a bit of intel.
What does she need to do?
You need to go out with him and the girls, see what's doing, see what the dynamic's like, see how comfortable he is with you being there. And if it at all feels odd and weird and there's a weird vibe, I wouldn't trust it.
Also known as a...
sus vibes.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
I would sack it off.
So she has to go out with him and the girls and just
she has to do a little bit of investigating.
And just watch?
No, just hang out. Hey, when are you going out with the girls next? I'd really like to make more of an effort with them, hang out with all of you. Can I come next time you guys hanging out? And if he goes, I don't know if that's a good idea. Sus.
Yeah, that is sus. I agree. But what if he says, yeah, no worries, come. And he like encourages them to be friends. And then she
goes and it's a good time, then all good.
So then what's the relationship with the gym guy?
Yeah, it is a bit weird. Weird.
Okay.
If you met a chick and started hanging out with her from the gym, I'd be like, Who is she?
Yeah, but that's why I always want you to like actually think about what you would actually feel in this scenario.
Okay, yeah, but look. What if the guy likes guys?
Genius.
Then what? Is that a problem?
I would say less of a problem.
Yeah, it's always circumstantial though, right?
Well,
what if he's like, not very good looking?
I said this to you in the Friends pod.
What if he's much older, not very good looking?
Oh, much older. That's
he's just
more
a bit
dangerous.
lonely.
Yeah, go get some blokey friends then. Stop hanging out with my missus.
It's a tricky one, guys.
Yeah, I know.
I think the best course of action is investigate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just put on your
subtly.
Inspector Gadget gloves and go
do
for
some
it.
subtle investigation.
No, I mean, I understand that like it's a form of a double standard, but I also think that meeting someone at a gym by yourself and then striking up a friendship when, they don't know your partner or they might have, I said this in the pod, like they might have different intentions to you. You might just want a platonic friendship. It doesn't necessarily mean they do. So it is different.
Or you could introduce your partner to him if you want to continue having a friendship with this person.
Yeah, and that's also an option. And perhaps he should do the same with his girlfriends to make you feel a little bit more comfortable with them and sort of invite you into that friendship circle. And, if you're all buddy-buddy with each other, then I'm sure you'd probably feel a little bit differently about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Plenty of different avenues you can take. All the best with which one you choose. And as always, feel free to let us know which one you choose and how it all goes.
Good luck.
But, all the best. Guys, that is all we have this week on Your Crazy Work Stories. There were plenty more, as always, but, we are limited in the time that we have in the studio. So if you did enjoy the episode and you did want a few more of these crazy work stories, or you wanted more of our stories, please do let us know in the comments section on Spotify. And if you're really enjoying the pod, please feel free to leave us a review. It means a lot.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.
Chat next week.